The world was different, divided, and often cruel to those who carried the wrong color of skin. On a cold December night, a teenage boy stood in the corner of a crowded train station. His pockets were empty, his stomach growled with hunger, and his eyes burned with tears. The smell of coal and metal filled the air as the boy, his name was Isaiah Turner, stood shivering at the edge of the platform. His shoes had holes, his coat was 2 sizes too small, and every passing face seemed like a reminder of how invisible he was. Isaiah had walked 10 miles to the station, desperate to get back home to his mother after weeks of failed odd jobs in the city. His father had died in a factory accident, leaving the family in poverty. He approached the ticket window, voice trembling. "1 ticket to Montgomery, sir, please." The clerk barely looked at him. Not enough. Next, humiliation burned in his chest as people in line whispered and sneered. Isaiah stepped aside, tears streaming down his face. Just then, a hand landed gently on his shoulder. It was Thomas Blake, a station guard in his late 20s. His uniform was worn, his face rough, but his eyes carried something unexpected: compassion. He looked at Isaiah's trembling hands and then at the coins. "You trying to get home, son?" Thomas asked quietly. Isaiah nodded, unable to speak. Thomas didn't hesitate. He slipped a folded ticket into Isaiah's palm, whispering, "Don't tell anyone. Just get home safe." Isaiah stared at him, stunned. For a moment, the station noise faded. The world had shown him cruelty, but here was proof. It still held kindness. He wanted to thank Thomas, but the guard only gave a small nod before turning back to his duty. Isaiah boarded the train that night, clutching the ticket like a lifeline. He had no idea this one act of compassion would echo across decades, changing both of their families forever. Isaiah never forgot that night. While others might have seen it as a small act, for him it was life-changing. That ticket not only carried him home, but restored something inside him: hope. Determined to honor the kindness he had received, Isaiah worked harder than ever. He studied late under candlelight, got scholarships despite endless prejudice, and eventually entered law school. By the late 1980s, Isaiah Turner had become one of the most respected lawyers in the state. But success didn't erase the scars. He remembered the humiliation of poverty, the sting of injustice, the cruelty of being dismissed. Each case he fought wasn't just work. It was personal. He carried with him the silent promise he had made to himself: "If I ever get the chance to stand for someone the world ignores, I will." Life went on. He married, had children, and built a name for himself. Yet, tucked away in his desk drawer, was a faded train ticket, his reminder of where he came from, and the stranger who believed he was worth helping. By the 1990s, Isaiah had been appointed as a judge. People respected his fairness, his sharp mind, and his refusal to bend under pressure. But destiny was not done weaving its threads. The ticket he once received in silence would soon find its echo in the loud, tense chambers of his courtroom. One cold morning, Isaiah entered his courtroom to hear the case of Michael Blake, a young man accused of armed robbery. The evidence was stacked against him: fingerprints, witnesses, even a shaky alibi. As Michael stood trembling, Isaiah noticed something hauntingly familiar about his eyes. The name Blake struck a memory buried deep. He leaned forward, scanning the boy's face. Could it be? Michael's attorney argued desperately that the boy was innocent, that he had been framed by local officers who held grudges against his family. But the prosecution painted Michael as a hardened criminal. The tension in the room was heavy, the kind that pressed on your chest. During a recess, Isaiah called for the case file. As he flipped through the pages, he froze. The defendant's grandfather's name was listed under guardian: Thomas Blake. Isaiah's hands trembled. It couldn't be coincidence. This was the grandson of the man who had once slipped him a train ticket, who had saved him from despair. As court resumed, Isaiah's mind raced. He couldn't let personal history cloud justice. But the more he listened, the clearer it became. Michael was being railroaded, just as Isaiah once had been by poverty and prejudice. And now, history had circled back. The boy in front of him didn't need pity. He needed someone to believe in him, just as his grandfather had once believed in Isaiah. The final day of the trial arrived. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation. Reporters filled the back rows, sensing this case carried more weight than others. Isaiah looked at Michael, seeing not just a scared young man, but the ghost of himself, standing in that train station years ago. When it came time for closing remarks, Isaiah spoke, not just as a judge, but as a man carrying history. His voice was steady, deliberate. Justice is not about convenience. It is not about appearances. It is about truth. And the truth here is clear. Michael Blake is not guilty. Gasps filled the room. Michael's knees buckled as relief washed over him. The courtroom erupted in whispers, reporters scribbling furiously. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Isaiah called Michael to his chambers. The young man entered nervously, eyes downcast. Isaiah opened a drawer and pulled out a faded yellowed train ticket. "Your grandfather once gave me this," he said softly. "I was your age, lost, hopeless. He believed in me when no one else did. And today, I return that belief to you." Michael's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a criminal, but as a human being. As Isaiah handed him the ticket, both men understood the truth. Kindness never disappears. It travels through time, waiting for the moment it's needed most.